The class is in memory of Jared Orchen, and today we will learn the Haftorah of fast days. Fast day, to fast. There are 6 fast days in the Jewish calendar. And the most famous one that we know is Yom Kippur. Everybody knows Yom Kippur. 24 hours, 25 hours, that's the fast day of Yom Kippur. What's next to Yom Kippur? There is Tisha B'Av is a famous fast day. It's also 25 hours. These 2 fast days, kind of everybody knows. But they are hiding in the Jewish calendar, another, not kind of hiding, but hiding another 5 fast days. 5, another 4. Most of them are connected to the destruction of the temple. The reason why we learn this today, because this past Sunday we had the fast day, the 10th of Tevet. What's the fast day of the 10th of Tevet? It's a fast day, the beginning of the siege around Jerusalem started around 2,500 years ago, the beginning of the destruction of the first temple. The Babylonian king, Nebuchadnezzar, sent his army and they started a siege. It was impossible to conquer the city. They had a wall around them, the wall of Jerusalem. That the best way out to break them is to put a siege. Jerusalem doesn't produce fruit and vegetables, and everything comes from outside. How long can you survive without food?
30 months.
That they started a siege. And for 2.5 years, the siege started the 10th of the month of Tevet. We fast on this day. This is not a fast like Yom Kippur and Tisha B'Av, not 24-hour fast. It's a fast that starts in the morning when you wake up until nightfall. This week the fast was over 5:45 in the evening. At the 10th of Tevet, it's in the winter, that's the shortest fast. It's a pleasure. In South Africa, it's the longest fast, just for your information. Somebody else is suffering for us. On Tisha B'Av, it's a longer fast, by them it's a shorter fast. If you're really so concerned about it, you can fly somewhere else, the other side, to have it shorter. In any case, that's the first fast. 2.5 years later, the siege was for 2.5 years. On the 17th of Tammuz, somewhere in July, beginning of July this year, they were able to break into the city, to break the wall. And some soldiers were able to sneak into the city. That's the second fast day of this set of fast days. The war in Jerusalem took 3 weeks, and then came Tisha B'Av. That they burned down the temple. Then we have the 10th of Tevet, the beginning of the siege. The 17th of Tammuz, the day they broke into the city. Tisha B'Av, the day they burned the temple. And then that's 3 fast days. There is one more where it's a connection to this. After the destruction of the temple, the king, Nebuchadnezzar, was not there, it was Nebuzaradan, took the Jews to exile, to Babylon. But he left some Jews. And they appointed a Jewish governor, if you want, who is loyal to Nebuchadnezzar, to the Babylonian king. He should be the governor on their behalf. The Jews looked at him as a collaborator, and another Jew walked in on Rosh Hashanah and killed Gedaliah, was his name. And by then, the Babylonian king sent an army, cleaned up Jerusalem. Then we have 4 fast days, where one lead to the other. The 10th of Tevet, the beginning of the siege. 17th of Tammuz, the break into the city. Tisha B'Av is the burning of the temple. That's why it's a bigger fast for 24 hours. And the fast of Gedaliah, we cannot fast on Rosh Hashanah, that we fast the day after Rosh Hashanah. This coming year, actually, Rosh Hashanah is going to be Thursday, Friday. Then it's Shabbos, you cannot fast on Shabbos either, that you fast on Sunday. It's pushed up even more. These 4 fast days are a set, they are connected all. Besides this, we have another fast, the fast of the Esther. The day before Purim, we fast too. In general, fasting is good for you. It rests a little bit the stomach. It's good for losing weight. It's good on many, many levels. You don't have to eat so much. It's better to fast. Then, now in these fast days, we see something that we don't have any other time. Usually, the Haftorah, we study Haftorahs now for the last year and a half. Haftorahs are being recited in the synagogue in the morning. Every Shabbos morning, we read the Torah, and after the Torah, there is Haftorah. Shabbos for Mincha, we read from the Torah, we don't read Haftorah. Shabbat, holidays, always Haftorahs are in the morning. When is there Haftorah in the afternoon? And the biggest fast day, Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is Haftorah in the afternoon, and also every fast day. This Sunday, in the morning we read from the Torah because it's a fast day, but we just read from the Torah. In the evening, by the Mincha service, we read the same reading, the same Torah reading, but after this we have Haftorah. Why we changed that we read Haftorah on a different time of the day? Different than any other holiday that has only Shabbat and holiday that we read only in the morning the Haftorah. There is a few explanations to it. One of the explanations is because there is a mitzvah, and the whole purpose of the fast day is to give charity, to help the poor, to change our ways. What is a fast day? Why are you fasting? What's the goal? To suffer? No. The goal is that during this fast day, we will repent. We will think what brought to the destruction of the temple. We were not nice to each other. That's if you want to sum it up in simple English, in one sentence without any complication. We were just mean to each other. That's the reason why the fast is coming. Why the destruction came. The destruction didn't come because we spoke in the middle of the service. I can promise you. The destruction came because we were not nice to each other. Then every fast day is a reminder to be nice to each other. Then it's written, Igre de Ta'anise is to give charity. The reward of the fast day, what do we benefit from it? That we give charity, we help others. How much charity you have to give? Then now you have to hear something interesting. Talmud says you should win. If you don't eat 3 meals, you gain money, right? Let's say you go to a restaurant every day. The company pays you for the lunches. So they give you $10 for how much would they give you? $20 for a lunch. If 3 meals, it's like $50. The least, right? That you didn't need 3 meals, that you're going to gain the money for it? No, give it away for charity. That's the idea. More than that, the poor people are fasting, they're waiting for the regulars to give them food for the day. Another reason why we give charity on a fast day, when you're going to feed the poor, when you are hungry, right? You're set aside, somebody says, he's poor. So really? When you're hungry, oh, you feel that the other guy is hungry too. There's a famous story about, it belongs today, it's a cold day, that a rabbi came to a rich man, knocks on the door, told him, we need some wood. There's a family down the road who doesn't have wood to warm up the house. Tells him, okay, he invites the rabbi, come on in. He's standing by the door. He said, no, we need the wood. And this guy is standing without a short, just with his short. He opened the door for a second, and the rabbi is holding him outside and arguing with him how much wood he should send. He gets outside. He said, okay, but said, no, we need it now. He finally, only when rabbi, come on in. He doesn't come in. Then finally, he tells his servant, go bring wood to this family. Only when the rabbi saw that the wood is taken place, is gone, then he walked in. This guy is frozen by this time. He says, Rabbi, what did you do to me? You could talk the whole thing outside, inside. He said, no. If you wouldn't feel the cold weather, you would never understand that the neighbor needs wood. When I kept you outside freezing, then you understood that somebody else is freezing. On a fast day, we are able to understand, we are able to relate to somebody who is hungry. The Haftorah of the fast day speaks about taking care of the poor, also, in a little piece at least. That's why, one of the reasons why it's written why we recite in the afternoon. The other reason is, what's the Haftorah? The whole purpose of Haftorah, as I spoke a few times, is to comfort the Jewish people. If the Torah tells us the past, the Haftorah tells us the future. First taste. The Haftorah tells us, usually most of the Haftorahs from the rabbis who chose pieces from the Bible for the Haftorah, they usually chose a piece which is very comforting, to comfort the Jewish people. Then it doesn't make sense to comfort somebody already in the morning. You didn't even start it tomorrow, it's almost like comforting somebody, God forbid, before the funeral. The time of comforting starts later, after. The same thing is here. After, by the end of the fast, and we are already close to the end, we offer condolences and comfort words. It's going to be good, Moshiach will come, and things will be better, and so on and on. It doesn't make sense to do it in the morning. The Haftorah now, this Haftorah is read by every fast day. The same Haftorah. Every afternoon. It's on every fast day, and even on Tisha B'Av in the afternoon we read this fast day. Tisha B'Av in the morning we read another fast day. Yom Kippur we read other fast days completely, because Yom Kippur is not a part of this category. Yom Kippur is more a holiday. It's on page 1508. It's very hard to find this Haftorah because it's really in the end.
468.
It's really, we have one Haftorah that we read it again and again, you understand? Mm-hmm. Usually every Shabbos has a different Haftorah. Every holiday has a different Haftorah. Happens here and there twice or three times that we read twice a year the same Haftorah for different reasons. But the fast days, 4 fast days, the same Haftorah. Doesn't make a difference what the fast day is about. It's about the fast of Esther, who has nothing to do with the destruction of the temple. It's about the beginning of the siege. Whatever it is, it's a fast day. We read the same Haftorah. Why? Because the core reason of a fast day is to return to God. This Haftorah tells us, let's begin the journey back to God. It's not so much in this Haftorah about how many mitzvahs we're going to do and how harsh the mitzvahs are, how important the mitzvahs are. It's more about a general, when somebody gets lost, he's in one direction. He makes a U-turn at the beginning of the way back. The Haftorah calls for a U-turn. It could be that you do a sin which is terrible, but it doesn't mean you disconnect yourself from God. Could be another sin which is not so terrible, but you make a statement that you don't care. Understand what I'm saying? What would be an example? By every person, it's a different example.
Did the rabbis in the olden days they would do more fasts than the 7 or the 6?
There is a concept of fasting for if you have a bad dream, you're fasting or things like this. Personally, people were stronger, therefore they did more fast. Came the Alter Rebbe, the founder of the Chabad movement, in the book Tanya. He has a whole section. It's called the Igeret HaTshuva, the letter that you can call it a letter. It speaks about repentance, and he makes it very clear: no more fasting. Fasting only when we are obligated. You want to serve God with joy, happiness, food. That's the way to fast. He says in the time of the Talmud, people were very strong. A fast day was nothing for them. We are barely surviving. I remember once the Rebbe said, people are so weak, and I was 20 years old, I said, people are so weak. Why is the Rebbe saying it? By now I understand exactly what he's talking about. When you're 20, you think everybody's like, oh. When you're 50, you understand exactly what means everybody is weak. Then, in today's world, no more fast day. The Rebbe once saw one of the Hasidim, he looked very skinny, the Rebbe told him, it looks like you're living in a time before the Tanya came around. Like you didn't need the news that no more fast day, this business is over. Because what is happening when you fast? What happens to you? You become grumpy. First of all, you're not nice to others. The whole purpose of the fast day is to be nice to each other. If you're grumpy, you have a headache usually when you fast. You cannot learn Torah, you cannot do mitzvahs. Then what do you accomplish? We lost. Not only we didn't accomplish, we lost more than we did good. It's fast days, we're only doing the fast day that's supposed to be and that's it. Then the whole purpose of the fast day is to return to God, to come back. What would be an example for a mitzvah that it might be everyone, it might be a statement of like being against God, by everyone it's different. For example, in a Hasidic family, in a Hasidic community, growing a beard is very, very important. Somebody shaves his beard, it means he's off. Then, for example, a shoichet, you know what a shoichet is? Somebody who's not a son. If he's a modern Orthodox Jew, that by him shaving the beard is a part of the culture, if he's a shoichet, it's okay, nothing wrong with it. But if a Hasidic shoichet shaves his beard, you better check things out. You understand? It's in what level, in what is in your community. For example, somebody was wearing a kippah all his life. He take off his kippah, that's you have to check this out. Somebody who never was wearing a kippah, nothing wrong with it. But somebody was wearing a kippah and he taking off the kippah is not the same. But because today it became identified with being religious, if somebody grew up in a religious home, that all his family is wearing a kippah and he took off the yarmulke, then it's something. Then being connected to God is not so much how many mitzvahs or how many sins you do. It's what are you doing? If you're doing something just because you're hungry, or you fall for this ice cream, or you do it because you want to deny God. Understand what I'm saying? It's what stands behind it, more than the act itself. This Haftorah is from the book of Isaiah, chapter 55, and continues to chapter 56. We will start to read it, and we'll get into it a little bit, little by little, and we'll see where we can end up with this. Go ahead.
Seek God while he may still be found among you, before you are exiled from your land, and call upon him while he is still near.
Okay. Seek God while he's with you, and call him while he's still near. When is he still near?
In the temple.
That's one opinion. Good. And are you right? When Hashem was near, when the Jewish people were there, literally Isaiah said, catch up to God now, or later you look for him, you'll not find him. That's one commentary. True. Other commentary is, the Talmud says, the 10 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, Karu biyato karov, call him when he's still near. These are the 10 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Means the 10 days of repentance. Then the Talmud, in another Medrash says, a person, God is in the heavens, right? So to speak. The heavens, how far is earth from heaven? Talmud says 500 years walk. Right? Takbar, Malach Tov Kuf Shona. Takbar, so. Now that they send the shuttle, which shuttle went to Mars? Took him 4 years, how long took it was last year? Curiosity, remember the shuttle Curiosity?
The Land Rover.
Right?
Land.
Land what?
There's a rover, I think.
Yeah.
It's
How
a
long
long
it took
time.
him to
Go
make it
Mars?
to Mars?
Many years.
I think 4 years or something like this.
Yeah, at least.
Now you see what the Medrash says, that 500 is one place, and from one heaven to the other, that's not so far-fetched. It might be even longer. 4 years took the shuttle to get to Mars. But the Talmud says when a Jew walks into shul and he prays in a hushed tone, God is very close to him. I think God is so far. It's very close. And that's what the prophet says. Call God, he's next to you, he's near to you. Don't think you have to scream loud, don't you have to go to Mars to speak to him. He's right there by you, waiting to hear from you, to talk to you. Finish the verse.
The wicked person should abandon his wicked way, and the sinner his thoughts. He should return to God, who will have mercy on him. Let the sinner return to our God, and there is hope for him, for he is very forgiving.
Okay, first of all, and a sinner person should work on his thoughts. Should repent from your thoughts. Sin is not only in action. Your beliefs are not less important than what you do. You have to believe in God, not to believe in idols. You know, when a conversion takes place, one of the most important questions is if you abandoned other beliefs.
Abandoned?
If you gave up on your other beliefs. Then they accept the conversion. The rabbis will convert them. That's what they ask the person who converts right before he or she are entering the mikveh. Are you ready? Are you give up on your other beliefs, on your other faith, on your other religion? He says, why? Because God is a forgiving God. Return to God and He will have mercy on you and He will forgive you. But you know, there is a problem. If you go to court, we are so used to the concept of forgiveness that we don't really appreciate it. You go to court, you tell the judge, you know, Judge, I'm sorry. Hashamnu Bogadnu. What did the judge tell you? Judge tell you?
Too late.
12 years.
He will tell you, continue to do it in jail. There's no Hashamnu Bogadnu in court. I'm sorry. Too late. The Medrash puts it, they asked Torah, or somebody who's sinner deserves that. Does this, that. The concept of forgiveness, what is this? Where is this coming? Somebody sinned, the Torah wrote, for this sin you get this. You did it. That's the law. It's a law, right? And let's continue the text.
You might consider a person to be beyond hope, says God, but my thoughts of forgiveness are not as your thoughts, and your ways, punishing insubordination, are not my ways, since I can accept repentance and do not need to punish.
Oh, God says, my thoughts are not your thoughts. The way God, we cannot, first of all, in this sense, God says, I can forgive people. You can't. You cannot understand. What is forgiveness? They sin, they should get punished. I don't need to punish per person. I can forgive. But the concept that my thoughts are not your thoughts are much bigger than that. Every time people try to understand why, right? Why? My thoughts are not your thoughts. You're trying to understand God. The attempt to try to understand God is foolish. It doesn't make sense. You don't have to go to God. You ask a brain surgeon, why you did it this way? What are you going to tell you? Look at you like, are you in your right mind? Go to school for 20 years, then you know why. That's between human beings, not within God. That's between people who are, there is a relationship. Is smarter, is less smarter. He learned, he didn't learn. We try to understand the creatures try to understand the Creator. It's a ridiculous attempt to begin with. Why the Holocaust took place? Why? The Rebbe used to say, you don't understand. That's the truth. Any other explanation is ridiculous. The moment somebody starts to give an explanation for tragedies, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I always ask him, tell me, he had a conversation with God lately. Who told you that? Anybody told you? I don't know. Nobody knows. Only God knows. My thoughts are above your thoughts. My ways are not your ways. It's not even something to compare. It's something to be measured. This is limited, and God is unlimited. Therefore, the attempt to try to understand God is, first of all, comes from a sense of arrogance. I want to understand God. Moses tried to ask God, God, show me your glory. Tell me the secrets. God told them, you can't know. No human being who is alive can know that. I can show you the back, not the front. You know what does this mean? You can explain, you can understand sometimes the past, but not the future. And the Holocaust, like many, many other things, all tragedies really, we don't understand. And any explanation is ridiculous. It's actually, not only it's ridiculous, it's violating the memory of the Holocaust victims by giving an explanation why it happened. Oh, happened because of this. Who are you to decide why they died? Or any other tragedy. Now it says in number 10 something very interesting.
For as high as the skies are above the earth, so are my ways of forgiveness higher than your mortal ways.
Oh, yeah, number 9, I'm sorry.
And my thoughts higher than your thoughts. Just as the rain and snow fall from the skies and does not return there through evaporation caused by the sun, before they have nourished the earth, making it germinate and then sprout, providing seed for sowing elsewhere and bread to eat, so will be the case with my word, which comes from my mouth. It will not return to me unfulfilled. Rather, it will accomplish what I want and succeed in the task to which I sent it.
Okay, the prophet says an amazing example. He says like rain is coming down. Eventually it goes back up. It's evaporating. But before, on the way to the evaporation, before it's supposed to accomplish what it's accomplishing, what it's supposed to accomplish. It's grow food from the earth. And only then it goes back to heaven. So to the word of God. If God said something is going to happen, it's going to happen. And nobody can stop it. And tzaddikim, righteous people are connected to God, when they give a blessing, it's going to happen. It might be 10 years, 20 years, 4 years, because they are connected to God. That God's power is in them. And then God will make sure that their words are being also fulfilled. Okay, number 12.
Thus, you have the promise that you will go out of exile with joy, and you will be brought back in peace. It will seem as if the mountains and the hills will be bursting out in song before you, and all the trees of the field will be clapping their hands. I'm sorry.
Clapping their hands. I never saw such a translation. Clapping their hands should be more like applauding, right? But clapping their hands. It's the right way. Then what is he saying? You go out with joy, right? Where is it? Number 12. You will go out with joy from exile, with joy, and you will be brought back in peace. And it's going to be, Rabbi once said, and the Jews will have joy and peace. The mountains will cooperate. All the obstacles will go away. The world will cooperate with everything that they want to do. If we are in peace, get along with each other, and we serve God with joy, we are happy people. Joy and peace are the secret for success in everything. In life, in a business, in marriage, in everything. That brings the blessing of God. The Zohar says, God is a reflection of us. When we are happy, when we smile, God smiles to us. When we krechts, God krechts back to us. Then he says, the Rebbe said, it became a Chabad song, this line. Ki v'simcha seitzeyu v'shalom tovod lo. And you will go with joy, go out with joy, and you'll be led with peace. The mountains and the hills will sing in front of you. And even the trees, all the trees will be clapping for you. Everything will support you. The world will cooperate with you. Go ahead, number 13.
Instead of thorn bushes of Gentile rulership, cypress trees of Jewish rulership will shoot up. Instead of nettles, myrtles will spring up, and this will establish a powerful reputation for God, a sign that this will be the state of affairs forever, and it will never cease. Okay, then here it says, when Moshiach will come, when things will be good, nothing bad will grow. Everything that will grow will be useful, will be productive, will not be bad things, will not be, toes will not grow. Anything, when something is growing, when things are growing, you cannot use them. It's a part of when the world is not fixed, is not cooperating. Not everything is productive. But when Moshiach will come, everything will be productive. Everybody will be productive. Everybody and everything. That's chapter 55. Now we continue in chapter 66. So says God, number 56, number 1. This is what God says.
This is what God says. Guard my Torah law and act charitably to your fellow. For in this way my salvation will arrive soon, and my charity toward you will be revealed for all to see.
Okay. Ko amar Hashem, so says God. שמרו משפט ועשו צדקה. Keep justice and do charity, right? That's what it says here. Yeah. Salvation will arrive. Guard my law and and act charitably. Tzedakah and mishpat. Everywhere in Judaism, in the Torah, it's about tzedakah and mishpat. Keeping the law and do charity. Usually, it's written mishpat and tzedakah. From where it's starting already? From Abraham. And God God goes to Abraham and tells him about he's going to destroy Sodom. But God kind of gives an explanation. Why he has to tell Abraham about that? But he needs permission from man. Is Abraham the boss or God is the boss? Who is the boss here? Then why suddenly he's going to tell him? God gives an explanation. Kind of explains himself, kind of excusing why is he coming to speak to Abraham. Is this before that he says something very interesting. Where is that? Okay, it's on page 101.